Hello, this is Kendra Holliday with The Beautiful Kind. It is April 6, 2021, arguably the most beautiful day of the year right now. The air is so soft and beautiful, and I wanted to share my end of life wishes and talk about the Right to Die movement. And all of this is inspired by Diane Rehm's book, When My Time Comes. It's all about the Right to Die movement and end of life, having control of your situation. And a lot of people in this society are very afraid to talk about death. And so, since I'm a sex positive activist, I'm also death positive curious, and I think they both go very hand in hand. And one of the readings I saw said that when you're talking about sex education, it's not the talk, it's several conversations, it's many different communications, and the death positive wishes is the same thing. It's a series of conversations. And so in Diane Rehm's book, she suggests that everyone record on their phone or somewhere for posterity their wishes, and you can keep it very private. But anyone who knows me knows that I'm way into oversharing, and I feel like a leader goes where she wants others to follow. So I wanted to just put it all out there about where I feel about this right now. At age 48, being very sane, very healthy, very thoughtful. I'm a planner, I'm an organizer, and I wanted to let everyone know that I created this sign back in 2017 when I was having menopause, really hard issues. I was really struggling, and I still feel pretty same about everything. That was 2017. I added no ventilator last year during the pandemic. I personally feel like anything over the age of 40 is gravy for me. And I'm 48 now. So every day, every year, every trip I get to take is bonus. So if something should happen to me, I've lived a rich and beautiful life. I'm so happy with what I've been given in this life so far. And I hope that I can leave a legacy and just know that there's a lot of love out there. And I feel really good and at peace with things. I want to say that I was my mom's death doula in 2019. She died November 11th, 2019. And she had struggled for over 30 years with depression and drug addiction and a huge amount of physical health issues. I think her dementia came from a lot of falls and head injuries. And she had some mini strokes, and she also used prescription drugs for decades. So I think that all took a toll on her brain. And I was her power of attorney, I was her person, and she was able to trust me as she was going through her last days. And one of the things that she talked with me about on her deathbed, I said, "What are your concerns?" And because she keeps hanging on, she keeps living and living and living, and just kind of, she was really suffering a lot for a long time, very much homebound, sometimes bedbound. And my dad was taking care of her 24/7, and it was taking a huge toll on his physical and mental health. So when she was in hospital, I said, "Why do you keep hanging on, Mom? What are your concerns?" And she said the two things that were keeping her hanging on was her house of 40 years and her husband of 53 years. And I told her, I promised her that I would take care of the house and I would take care of my dad. And I could see her click, 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 and she believed me and she trusted me and she was able to really surrender and let go. And when she died, she almost had a giddy experience. It was the most beautiful death I've ever seen. She was surrounded by loved ones. She was swaddled in morphine, and she had a very beautiful death. I want that for as many people as possible, including myself. And I am now watching my 80-year-old father deal with Alzheimer's. We think it's Alzheimer's. His doctors keep refusing to do a PET or MRI scan on his brain. They can't really tell what it is, but they're guessing it's Alzheimer's. And he's getting into the middle stages now, so I am his seeing eye brain. I am caring for him like a backup person. I'm his go to, and he's my VIP, my very important person. He's my last person that I really need to care about. I have a 20-year-old daughter who's living on her own and is independent. I'm always so, so proud of her. And I really look forward to seeing how her life turns out. And I'm just really happy that she's doing well. So my dad is my person that I'm caring for. And I wonder about that whole, will I get dementia? Or what is my health outcome going to be? You think you might die of certain things, but you never know. It's a big old mystery, and we don't always get what we want. But ideally, I think most of us want to die at home, surrounded by loved ones. My mom died in hospital, but it was a very cozy, peaceful room that she was in. It felt like a good place to go, with the full moon in the window. And later on, there was a meteorite that tore through the sky and lit up St. Louis area, so it was really cool. And also, there was a freak snowstorm that day. It was November. It was so random. So she went out with a bang. And I'm so glad that she's at peace now. And I'm so glad that I can be here with my father and have conversations with him while he's still able to recognize and have his own opinions and autonomy as much as possible. Anyway, so I want to let you know that I do have a life insurance policy and a will. I got those all straightened out with a family estate lawyer. In the will, my daughter is mentioned and my two sisters, Serena and Gina. Gina is so practical, and Serena is kind of like my psychic connection. So she is very intuitive and really has an emotional feel of what I'm all about. But also mentioned in my whole paperwork is my life partner, Matthew, who I've been with for 13 years. He is so intuitive. He knows me so well. He's helped me through so many times, and I trust him more than anybody in the world. So he is definitely the person that, even though we're not legally married, we have all the paperwork in place so that he can make financial decisions and healthcare decisions for me. We have all of that paperwork in place so that if I go to hospital or something, he's able to be there and be registered officially as a member of the family, even though we are not legally married, and we don't plan to do that because we don't feel like we need that sort of government involvement in our relationship, and we'd rather do things our own way. So let's see what else I wanted to say. I've been trying to get through this book. It's a little bit dense. David Wraith got it for me. And so like I said, today I'm attending an event online with Diane Rehm and her book, When My Time Comes, about the end-of-life movement and medical-assisted death. And I also listened recently on Fresh Air, this book by Katie Engelhart. It's called The Inevitable, and it talks about the ethical dilemmas. In the United States right now, people with dementia or other cognitive or mental illnesses are not eligible for end-of-life wishes like this, but that happens in other countries. So we'll see how things change over the next few years. And so there's a lot of ethical dilemmas about people and their state of mind and cognitive abilities. And I don't know if I'm going to get dementia someday, but it's very likely because of our lifestyle choices throughout the years. Things happen, and my genetics. I had an aunt who died of Alzheimer's as well. And so I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's see, anything else? Oh yeah, so I've been to a few death cafes because I find them to be really interesting to have these conversations about end-of-life stuff and what you want to happen with your body and all that good stuff. And I'm not very religious, but I feel very spiritual. So I do feel a great connection with nature and trees and all of that. So in respect with the environment, I would like to, as of now, have a flameless cremation. So when I die, I would prefer no autopsy unless my life insurance requires it. I haven't checked with them yet. I definitely do not want to be embalmed. And I would like the flameless cremation option, which is a little better for the environment. And I am not officially registered with Ortman Funeral Homes, but my parents have been through that with them. So I am going to just recommend them. And I'll try to get a pre-need thing signed up with them, but they won't let me do it yet because I'm 48 and I'm healthy. So we'll see how things go over time. So let's see. So Matthew, Serena, Gina, my daughter is mentioned in all of my paperwork, and I think that's everything. I've got these cool little packets that I haven't really played with yet. You can get a lot of this online, or when you kind of sign up for these classes. This is a really nice starter point for when you're trying to figure out your medical stuff and how comfortable you want to be. I like comfort. I like the morphine. My mom made it look really good, so I definitely don't want to suffer. And I don't know. Yeah, so I'm glad I have everything organized and in place, and that Matthew knows where my passwords are, and all of those important little details that we don't think about until sometimes it's too late. And it's nice to take that burden off of your loved ones. And again, I recommend having these conversations, and I'm so glad that there are more and more people writing about this and putting it on the forefront, because I believe that everyone should have a choice in how their end of life is, just like any other healthcare decisions. I think that people should have the right to choose where they want to give birth, if they want to give birth, how they want to die. I think we should have control over those things. I don't think anyone should be forced to do anything, but we should have options. So that's all we're trying to do here, is get some things in place that will make it easier for people when they've got enough that they're trying to figure out, you know? So I hope I remembered everything. Yeah, I think I did. So anyway, let me know if you get into any of these conversations and start getting organized with your death yourself. I'm so grateful for my mom for giving me a morbid bone in my body, because I've always been fascinated with this kind of stuff, and she was too. Oh my goodness. So I guess now that I've had my little death positive spiel, I'll get back to all that sex positive stuff and talk about all that fun pleasure in the world and how we all have a right to have that as well. So thank you, and live well.